Fae Evolution Merchant Chapter 11, Elder Brother and Younger Sister. Although it was daytime and the lights were switched off, the house appeared to be pitch dark. Li Yuan switched on the lights before moving swiftly to the kitchen to boil a pot of vegetable porridge. Mixed with white rice grains were plenty of green vegetables of varying sizes. Although he had only added salt, the rice grains and vegetables aroma was already making Lin Yuan's stomach grumble as he had not eaten for an entire day. Chimney was eating its usnea as usual. However, since the usneas had evolved to normal grade, and Chimey had never tasted such nice food before, it ate much more than usual. While Chimey was eating, it used its wings to rub on its bulging tummy. Lin Yuan had a big bowl of vegetable porridge, while Genius had a small one. They were both enjoying their food. After Auntie Zhang's departure, Chimey no longer needed to restrain itself anymore, so it had been singing for the entire night. Chimey might only know one song, but its singing voice was enjoyable. Genius behaved the same, resting on Lin Yuan, while he was working hard to guide the 3 pots of jasmine lilies to evolve. 3 hours after breakfast, Lin Yuan's efforts finally paid off as the 3 pots of jasmine lilies had successfully evolved from normal grade to elite grade. Lin Yuan realized that after a Fae evolved to elite grade, it would take much more time for it to make any progress in evolution. After 2 more hours of hard work, the elite jasmine lilies leveled up by 1 grade. There was no difference in quality. It seems like, with my current strength, I will need very long to evolve the phase from elite to bronze. The phase evolution speed is dependent on my spirit chi absorption speed. If I wish to increase my spirit chi absorption speed, I will need to become a spirit chi professional. Now that he had evolved 3 more normal phase to elite ones, Lin Yuan felt that his stamina and spiritual power were much stronger. If this carried on, and if he evolved 200 more pots of jasmine lilies from normal grade to elite grade, he might be able to become the lowest ranked, D rank, spirit chi professional. By then, his spirit chi absorption would be much faster, and it would be easier for him to evolve phase. Lin Yuan was about to evolve a pot of normal usnea to become his store's first elite usnea when his old-fashioned mobile phone rang. Lin Yuan looked at the mobile phone screen and revealed a warm smile. The moment he picked up the phone, he heard a clear and pleasant voice. "Elder brother, it has been 2 days since I called you. How is your body now?" It was a familiar opening statement. Whenever Lin Yuan answered his younger sister's phone call, she would always ask this as though it was a habit. "My body is much better than before. You don't have to worry. I have even cleaned up our house's courtyard at the back." "Elder brother, why are you cleaning our house's courtyard for?" "Your body." Chu Xi sounded anxious as she knew clearly about her elder brother's body condition. From the tender age of 8 and 6, Lin Yuan and she had been relying on each other to survive. The 8-year-old Lin Yuan had spared no effort to ensure their survival. They had already tested the 6-year-old Chu Xi, who had an exceptional talent to become a spirit chi professional, so he had been determined to support her studies. It had been 9 years since then. One could imagine how much hard work an 8-year-old frail child had to put in order to endure when he actually required care from others. After hearing that Lin Yuan had cleaned up the courtyard, his sister knew he was planning to expand the store scale to earn more money. But how could his body take it? Chu Xi had thought about stopping school in order to help Lin Yuan at home. In fact, she had even protested by doing her homework poorly and getting bad grades on her tests. Reweb N. Oval.com. However, during one rainy night, Lin Yuan looked at her with red eyes and said, "Chu Xi, you are my only family, do not disappoint me." Chu Xi could still remember that when Lin Yuan had made that statement, he had been actually yelling, and this yell had woken up Chu Xi. She had discarded all of her rebellious behavior and turned into a top-class student that always ranked first in the exams from that day onward. It was all because she didn't wish to disappoint Lin Yuan. After listening to Lin Yuan's plans, Chu Xi got anxious. At the same time, Lin Yuan could sense his younger sister's emotional state through the phone. "I am just packing up a little. The store is still the same." Lin Yuan did think of telling Chu Xi that he could sense spirit chi, but he was afraid that she wouldn't be convinced and would still be anxious. He thought that he would talk to Chu Xi during the school holidays. However, Lin Yuan wouldn't tell Chu Xi about the fact that he could evolve phase. It wasn't because he didn't trust her. He simply didn't wish for this secret to be exposed and bring danger to Chu Xi. When Chu Xi heard Lin Yuan speaking like this, she finally relaxed. This pair of siblings wasn't adept at expressing their hidden feelings, and they were both people that had a burning passion in the depths of their hearts. Therefore, after they mutually informed each other that they were fine, the conversation ended quickly. After Chu Si ended the phone call, she heard her roommate's envious voice from behind. It seems like you have a rather good relationship with your elder brother. Unlike my younger brother and I that are at loggerheads whenever I get home. But you have the surname of Chu, while your elder brother has the surname of Lin. That is rather strange. Chu Si smiled and reflected a warm atmosphere in the room. Lin Yuan had taken the Lin surname from their father, while she had taken the Chu surname from their mother. This was the love between their father and mother. It was also the parental love from her parents that had left a very vague impression in Chu Si's memory. Chu Si, we are going to contract phase tomorrow. Why don't you go out for a walk with me to relax? Chu Si shook her head, pointed at the revision book on her table, and shook her hands. The roommate used a habitual tone and said, Do you only know how to revise in the room? If I had your looks, I would be going out every day. Do you know how many students in the school fancy you? When the roommate saw that Chu Si wasn't interested in going out, she left the room herself thinking that she might find some nice man. Chu Si picked up her pen and started to write neatly on the revision book. She didn't even pause as she memorized this question by heart. Chu Si didn't repeatedly practice these questions for herself. It was for a part-time job. For each revision book she did, she could earn 20 Federation dollars. It wasn't any problem for Chu Si to write out 2 to 3 sets of revision books. In fact, this was also Chu Si's study method. Each revision book cost 40 Federation dollars, and Chu Si couldn't afford it. Due to her part-time job, she simultaneously could practice and earn some allowance. It was truly killing 2 birds with 1 stone. This was also the first year Chu Si had a part-time job, and it was something that she didn't dare to let Lin Yuan know. If Lin Yuan found out, he would probably be angry. What's more, Chu Si didn't use the money to pay for her school fees. She was planning to buy some medicinal health products for Lin Yuan when she returned during the holidays. While having this motivation, she started to fill the revision book. Her hand might be feeling sore, but Chu Si didn't feel tired at all. At that moment, a banging sound came from Chu Si's drawer. When Chu Si opened the drawer, she glanced at a box with a thick shell inside. There was a gray-colored and ugly beetle that was the size of half a palm. Tomorrow, they would learn how to form a contract with a fae and then apply the knowledge with their first fae. Naturally, Chu Si didn't inform Lin Yuan about that. She had used her own hard-earned money to find a gray beetle, who no one in the entire Federation would wish to form a contract with. Chu Si looked at the gray beetle and gripped her fist tightly. She had a calm and determined expression as though she had made a decision. Fae Evolution Merchant Chapter 12, Irascible Teacher, Bao. That night, Lin Yuan slept well with Genius and Chimey snuggling close to him. Even in their sleep, they continued to absorb the spirit chi that he was emitting. Lin Yuan woke up to his morning routine and exercised for 1 hour before opening the store at 7 a.m. Soon enough, all the elite usnias were sold out. The supply of nutritious food, such as usnias, for herbivorous phase was always lower than the demand. In addition, Lin Yuan's usnias were in great condition, and their prices were affordable. Lin Yuan had even successfully managed to sell a pot of elite jasmine lily, earning a total of 5,500 Federation dollars, while selling the usnias. Lin Yuan earned an amount that was more than what he would make during an average month in just one morning. Without including the usnias, just that one pot of jasmine lily earned him more than what he had made last month. Thus, Lin Yuan was delighted. When Lin Yuan was about to purchase more goods from the Fae marketplace, his mobile phone rang. It was an unknown number. The moment Lin Yuan answered the call, an anxious and furious voice resounded. Are you Chu Si's guardian? Lin Yuan immediately replied after hearing the question, I am. Did something happen to Chu Si in school? And you are? That person was extremely impolite and started showering him with criticisms. Who am I? I am Chu Si's homeroom teacher, Teacher Bao. What kind of guardian are you? During the Fae contract class, Chu Si actually contracted a gray beetle and even suffered a backlash. As a guardian, don't you know that you should provide a better Fae for your kin? What piece of trash is the gray beetle? Don't you know that you are wasting Chu Si's exceptional talent? Under normal circumstances, teachers would be very polite when communicating with parents. However, this Teacher Bao was outraged. When Lin Yuan heard what Teacher Bao said, cold sweat instantly drenched his back and clothes. How could Lin Yuan not be aware of gray beetles? They were normal fays that could be bought for 200 Federation dollars. Due to gray beetle's aggressive nature, it would be in an aggressive state during the contracting process, and the contractor would suffer a backlash. At the same time, the gray beetle's excavating ability was utterly useless as it was of no help to a combat occupation. Gray beetles preferred environments that were dark and moist, while their main diet was rotting flesh. Due to their habits and preferences, the gray beetle ranked number 1 as the fae that no one was willing to form a contract with. Presently, gray beetles were mostly used as food for high-grade carnivorous fays. Lin Yuan's voice was unstable as he asked Teacher Bao, is Chu Xi okay now? He was gripping the mobile phone so tightly that the veins in his hands were popping out. The other end of the phone call transmitted a very dissatisfied voice. Due to the timely rescue in class, she only suffered a minor mental backlash and is unconscious. It is fortunate that she didn't manage to form a contract with the gray beetle. Chu Xi has the best talent among all the students that I have taught. Her compatibility range is toward all defensive type fays. Her aptitude is very rare, even in the entire Redbud City. If she is properly nurtured, she might even have the chance to strive and enter the Federation's 100 sequence. This is the kind of talent that guardians like you should pay more attention to. Teacher Bao might be angry while speaking, but he didn't forget about his job responsibility and preached about education ideals. Upon hearing that Chu Xi was fine, Lin Yuan heaved a sigh of relief and quickly asked, Teacher Bao, is Chu Xi still unconscious? I will come right now. Teacher Bao immediately instructed, if you come, then you'd better have with you an outstanding elite fae for Chu Xi. Otherwise, it will really be wasting her talents. A Spirit Chi professional's talent was referring to the compatibility between the Spirit Chi professional and the fays. It was also known as the compatibility range. There were Spirit Chi professionals who might be compatible with support-type fays, but when trying to connect with support-type fays, they might only be compatible with snake species fays. Therefore, they could only form contracts with snake support-type fays. As a result, the compatibility range would shrink significantly. A Spirit Chi professional could only form contracts with around 3 to 5 fays. However, due to compatibility, it would be difficult to find 3 fays that fit the criteria. This referred to individuals with average talent. It was possible for people with poor talent, compatible with snake support-type fays, to have an additional compatibility condition, that being venomous snakes. This would definitely shrink the compatibility range down even more. If the search for compatible fays was already so difficult, there wasn't a need to even discuss contracting more fays to form one's combat system. For a combat class Spirit Chi professional, the combination of fays was crucial. Spirit Chi professionals fought using the combinations and pairings with many types of fays to produce a complementing effect. Thus, the wider the compatibility range, the easier it was to form combinations. In fact, some individuals would only nurture one of the fays with the majority of the resources, while the other fays were used to enhance this main fay. This was one of the Federation's effective methods to save on resources, and it was a strategy to funnel resources to the main fay. Given all these factors, it was evident how talented Chu Xi was. Lin Yuan replied, Teacher, don't worry. I'll visit the school tomorrow and bring a fae for Chu Qi. Although Lin Yuan was angry at Chu Xi in his heart, he could also understand her thoughts. Soon, his anger turned into heartache. It was good that he would visit her this time. Lin Yuan would show her that he could now absorb spiritual power and prove that his body condition was much better than before. This would allow Chu Xi to feel more at ease. Lin Yuan's great attitude reduced Teacher Bao's anger significantly. However, he still reminded, it is best to bring an elite fae. Subsequently, the phone call ended. Teacher Bao let out a long sigh in the office after he hung up the phone. He might have only taught Chu Xi for 2 weeks, but Chu Xi's serious attitude in studies had moved him. A teacher would always prefer diligent students, and because of her potential, it led Teacher Bao to give more preference to Chu Xi. As a teacher, he knew a little about his students' family background. Teacher Bao had heard that Chu Xi's family wasn't well off, so he wasn't expecting Lin Yuan to bring over an elite fae. Teacher Bao touched his salary card in his pocket and gritted his teeth. If Chu Xi's guardian bring a normal fae, I will fork out from my own pocket to purchase an elite fae for her. I cannot allow Chu Xi's incredible talent to be wasted like this. Lin Yuan stayed silent for a very long time after ending the phone call. He only snapped back to his senses when Genius called out to him. Upon looking at the 3 remaining pots of elite jasmine lilies, 1 pot of elite usnea, and 20+ pots of normal usneas, Lin Yuan immediately dismissed the plan to visit the Fey marketplace. He immediately closed the store. Lin Yuan intended to work overnight to evolve all these normal usneas to elite ones. He was planning to sell all of them in the Fey marketplace tomorrow, in exchange for a top-notch elite defense-type Fey for his younger sister. Lin Yuan worked hard for an entire night to channel the Spirit Chi to 20+ pots of normal usneas. Although he felt fatigued and exhausted, he didn't rest for a moment. In the end, he evolved all of them into elite grade. Yet again, Lin Yuan felt the accumulated spiritual power in his body getting strengthened. It was daylight outside the window, over 20 hours had passed, and it was already the next day. Fey Evolution Merchant Chapter 13 Master, you are incredible. After not sleeping for an entire night, Lin Yuan felt he had returned to the time when he couldn't sense the spirit qi and when his spiritual energy was still in a frail state. Lin Yuan shook his head, feeling that this frail state was very familiar, but he didn't have the time to rest now. Lin Yuan ran upstairs and opened a wooden box that was rather old. It contained plenty of plain and simple youth clothes. The denim clothes on the top of the clothing pile had a blue color that had already faded. Lin Yuan took out all the clothes, and a card appeared at the bottom of the box. It was a star web card. The Radiance Federation would only issue one star web card for each citizen. It was a genuine smart card, and it included the function of a bank card. This little card contained all of Lin Yuan's wealth, and when adding yesterday's profit, he had close to 20,000 Federation dollars. Genius was crouching obediently at the side of the bed and meowed to Lin Yuan before saying, Yuan, it will probably rain later. Let me accompany you. Lin Yuan rubbed Genius' head and pointed at the bed where Chimey was still snoring away. Genius, you and Chimey have accompanied me for an entire night. You should also have a rest. A genius that rests obediently is a good genius. Genius immediately let out a purr, lay beside Chimey, and said to Lin Yuan, Genius is a good genius. Lin Yuan took the umbrella and locked the store properly before heading toward the Fey marketplace. The weather was already stiflingly hot, so the sparkling drizzles addition made the atmosphere abnormally humid. Redbud City's residents were already familiar with such weather. The Fey marketplace wasn't close to Lin Yuan's home and was around a 7-kilometer journey away. During normal times, Lin Yuan would walk there to purchase new goods. Given Lin Yuan's previous body condition, he would need to walk at least for 2 hours to travel 7 kilometers. However, Lin Yuan didn't have that much time. He had already promised the teacher that he would deliver a Fey to the school for Chu Ci to form a contract. Furthermore, Lin Yuan was worried about Chu Ci's safety. If he didn't have to prepare the Fey, he would have already visited Chu Ci. After walking to a transportation station that wasn't far away, Lin Yuan used the Star Web card to register and arranged for a thick-hoofed donkey car. The thick-hoofed donkey was a normal Fey. Due to its fast walking speed, it was available as the cheapest form of public transportation that was commonly used and found in every corner of the Radiance Federation. A century after the Spirit Qi awakening, various Feys had already evolved to replace the majority of the steel machines. However, it didn't stop the Radiance Federation from advancing their technology. On the contrary, after the Spirit Qi awakening, humanity's technology had advanced greatly, and the Star Web was the best proof. Lin Yuan was seated in the thick-hoofed donkey car. The breeze that accompanied the galloping thick-hoofed donkey invigorated Lin Yuan, making him comfortable from time to time. Ever since Lin Yuan had boarded the vehicle, the driver had constantly been looking at Lin Yuan. Upon seeing that Lin Yuan had already noticed him, the driver gave a friendly greeting. Young brother, are you going to purchase a Fey at the marketplace? I have already taken plenty of trips to the marketplace today. Lin Yuan let out a smile when the driver started conversing with him. That's right, Master One. I am going to the marketplace to take a look. Why have you taken so many trips to the marketplace? Lin Yuan was only casually asking to carry on the topic with the driver. It felt as though the driver was waiting for Lin Yuan to ask this question and started to speak non-stop. This is definitely not a coincidence. It is because there is an additional shipment to the marketplace today. Upon seeing how the driver was acting mysteriously, Lin Yuan felt curious too. Drivers who were fetching plenty of customers on a daily basis would always have first-hand information. The driver was also a forthright person and didn't try to be suspenseful. He immediately started talking. Young brother, have you read the news during these 2 days? Do you know that a dimensional rift opened around 15 kilometers away from our Xiao region's outskirts? Lin Yuan didn't expect the topic on the marketplace to be related to the dimensional rift in the outskirts. However, whenever there was a dimensional rift, it was a major event for the Radiance Federation. Dimensional rifts would be connected with another dimension plane. Take this dimensional rift, for example. It was actually connected to a plane that was filled with alien insects. Redbud City had immediately mobilized the Redbud Guards and sent them to the outskirts. The Redbud Guards had spent 2 entire days to wipe out the alien insects that rushed out from the dimensional rift and controlled the situation. The news outlets had constantly been reporting on this incident. It was said that the Redbud Guards had left 3 platoons at the vicinity of the dimensional rift to stand guard. After looking at Lin Yuan's expression, the driver understood that Lin Yuan knew of this matter, and it instantly sparked his desire to continue speaking. The dimensional rift this time didn't show any prior indications, and it just happened to open nearby a small-scaled Fey breeding base. As a result, when the alien insects invaded, the breeding base was devastated. I heard that only a few of the staff members managed to escape. When the rescue team arrived, there were only a few Feys that were still intact. However, some Feys were severely injured and not dead yet. As such, the staff members that escaped set up a stall in the marketplace to sell off the injured and crippled Feys. Lin Yuan's eyes lit up after hearing that. Severely injured and crippled Feys would definitely not be too expensive, and there might be a chance to pick up a great Fey. Master, then can you bring me to the nearest crossing to that stall? I will alight from there and take a look too. The driver chuckled and said, all right, young brother. However, I heard from others that those Feys' injuries are so severe that they damage their roots. Healers do not have the ability to heal the roots. In order to heal those severely injured Feys, you will have to go look for creation masters. After speaking, the driver let out a sigh. The fees required to look for a creation master for treatment is probably enough to purchase a brand new Fey. Lin Yuan cracked a rare joke as he had already recovered and was in a much better mood. Beast is sliced, the pot is spiced, the entire village waits in delight. If it truly can't be treated, let it become marinated. freewebno.com. Lin Yuan was only joking and didn't expect the driver to actually follow up. Dish is served, the stomachs are starved, all the villagers are no longer reserved. Yesterday, I picked up a cheap elite blunt armor pig from that stall, and it is now hung up by my wife to become preserved meat. When seeing the proud expression on the driver's face, Lin Yuan couldn't help but give a thumbs up and reveal his white teeth. Master, you are incredible. After alighting at the marketplace, Lin Yuan could feel that it was significantly more crowded than normal. Each of the stalls was filled with all sorts of Feys, but they had a variety of Feys that wouldn't exceed 5 species. Furthermore, the species would be entirely different from the stall at the side. This was obviously an agreement between the stalls to prevent any malicious contest. The Feys' prices would fluctuate, but not too much. Presently, the normal jasmine lilies on the stall were being sold for $450 Federation dollars, and they were $50 Federation dollars more expensive than when Lin Yuan had bought them previously. A single pot of usnea cost $200 Federation dollars, and a normal usnea would be sold for $1,600 Federation dollars. Elite usneas were much more expensive than elite jasmine lilies and had a price of 14,000 Federation dollars. Fey Evolution Merchant Chapter 14, the doctor said I had a weak stomach. Productive spirit plants like the usneas were very rarely available in the market. Normal usneas would occasionally be traded in the marketplace. However, basically no one would be willing to trade elite usneas in the marketplace. An elite usnea was equivalent to a foundation, and small stores could already cover their daily operating expenses just by selling the produced usnea vines. A high-grade usnea was expensive because it could produce over a dozen vines, unlike the jasmine lilies that didn't have any byproducts. If some inferior energy ores could be buried in the usnea pot, it would be able to constantly produce vines for an entire week. It was just like a hen that could lay eggs, making the price naturally higher. Among the different Feys, there were astronomical differences in prices. In the Fey marketplace, the highest price of a normal usnea would be around 1,600 Federation dollars. However, those usneas that were well-developed and had thicker vines would have prices of around 3,000 Federation dollars. It was nearly double the price. At that moment, Lin Yuan suddenly realized that he had actually created a huge sum of wealth over a single night. He didn't just have normal usneas, but well-developed elite usneas, and he had over 20 pots of them. The amount of wealth had astonished Lin Yuan, but he quickly composed himself. Now that I have the ability to evolve Feys, I will only be making more money in the future. This is just the beginning. While walking, Lin Yuan looked at the various Feys in the stalls and attempted to circulate his spiritual power. Lin Yuan could distinctly feel the instinctive compatibility with each of the Feys. Lin Yuan felt that he was more compatible with healing type and support type Feys. Apart from that, he felt that he was especially intimate with plant type Feys. Lin Yuan wasn't able to feel spirit chi previously and naturally didn't know which Feys he was compatible with. Since he could circulate his spirit chi, Lin Yuan could find out his compatibility direction now that there were so many different types of Feys gathered in the marketplace. Lin Yuan couldn't help but recall teacher Bao's words. Teacher Bao had praised Chu Si's compatibility with defense-type phase and the fact that she was qualified to become a prodigy among the 100 sequence. Since my compatibility range is so extensive, I wonder how talented I am. Immediately after, Lin Yuan thought about his pitiful amount of spiritual energy. Given this little speck of spiritual energy, it didn't matter how great his talent was. It was useless if he couldn't form contracts with phase. The types of phase that Lin Yuan was compatible with would determine that Lin Yuan would have to use Morbius' exclusive skill, Spirit Lock, on those types of phase. Morbius Spirit Lock was only able to use the phase initial ability, so Lin Yuan had to choose cautiously. The healing type and support type were much rarer than the power offense type. Between the healing type and support type, the healing type was much rarer. Therefore, Lin Yuan planned for his first Spirit Lock Fei to be a healing type with a strong healing ability. Currently, the most important matter wasn't for Lin Yuan to decide on a Fei to use Spirit Lock on. He had to pick an outstanding, elite defense-type Fei for Chu Si. As of now, Lin Yuan had only discovered 2 to 3 species of elite defense-type Feis. One of them was a crust rabbit that was considered fine. It had obtained the ability, strong skin at elite grade, and allowed the contractor to produce a layer of horn texture skin shield to help block damage. However, this crust rabbit didn't reach Lin Yuan's standards. It would be better if Lin Yuan had more time, as he could simply nurture a top-notch elite Fei for Chu Si. However, there was only 1 day left. The Radiance Federation schools had very strict rules. If the student didn't successfully contract a Fei before live combat lessons, the student would fail the live combat subject. It would affect their chances of being enrolled into top universities in the future. This would certainly be detrimental to Chu Si's life. At that moment, Lin Yuan noticed there was an iron cage by the foot of the stall owner ahead. There were 3 little goats with curved horns inside the cage. The goats might seem small, but those horns were massive and disproportionate with their bodies. Lin Yuan's eyes lit up as these were coiled horn goats. Fei name, coiled horn goat. Fei species, goat species / horned goat subspecies. Fei grade, elite, 7 out of 10. Fei type, rock. Fei quality, flawless. Abilities. Resist, using the large horns on the head to defend and resist attacks. Horn attack, using the large horns on the head to smash the target. FRE, web novel. Coiled horn goats were considered outstanding among elite Feis. In addition, these 3 coiled horn goats were still kids and already had flawless quality. Their ability to adapt would be much better than adult coiled horn goats. Moreover, one of the coiled horn goats had an elite grade ability called the Jolt Horn. It was a rare control-type ability that coiled horn goats could comprehend.
ఆ మాటకు రమేష్ చంద్ర చాలా సంతోషిస్తాడు. నిజంగా వికీతో నేను కలుస్తాను అని అడుగుతాడు. ఖచ్చితంగా కలుస్తారు మావయ్య అని మాట ఇస్తుంది.
The coiled horn goat could use the Jolt Horn attack to paralyze the enemy by using high-frequency vibration. The Jolt Horn was a rather rare ability that only elite coiled horn goats would learn. Therefore, this coiled horn goat with the Jolt Horn was superior to the 2 other coiled horn goats that had the horn attack. Lin Yuan quickly walked in front of the stall and saw the owner leaning on the chair while reading the newspaper. Lin Yuan asked, "Boss, what is the price of this coiled horn goat?" When Lin Yuan asked for the price, he was silently estimating the price in his heart. However, he didn't expect this middle-aged man to look up at Lin Yuan and shake his hand while chuckling. "Handsome brother, my wife isn't around. I wouldn't know the price even if you asked." Lin Yuan looked at the relaxed man and felt that he was being teased. Isn't this uncle tending to the stall? How could he not know the price of the Fei? Upon seeing Lin Yuan's confused expression, the man rubbed his tummy and explained, "The doctor says I have a weak stomach and can only eat soft rice one. That's why my wife decides everything that has to do with this stall. She went over to the opposite stall to buy some meat. I should be able to have some additional dishes tonight." This fellow's shamelessness flabbergasted Lin Yuan. He actually stated that he could only eat soft rice, as though it was natural and righteous. He was obviously the king in the world of soft rice. When looking at the man's contented expression, Lin Yuan involuntarily thought that it was rather good to eat soft rice. But Lin Yuan immediately threw this thought out of his mind. For each step taken during the past decade, everything had been tough, so he would gladly accept the hardship. Lin Yuan extended his fist and shook it in front of the middle-aged man. In response, the man put the newspaper aside and assumed a defensive posture while shouting, "There are so many eyewitnesses here. Don't think about robbing me in broad daylight. If you want to rob, go over to that stall which sells tool-type Feis. It will be easier for you to snatch." When the middle-aged man yelled out, Lin Yuan felt awkward. The stall owner by the side obviously heard that man and was infuriated. He immediately turned around and was enlightened after seeing the situation. He then said something as though he was in wretched luck, that means 10. You have been flipping your newspaper acting as though you have some knowledge, but you don't even know this? The middle-aged man noticed that Lin Yuan had been looking at the cage with the coiled horn goats and immediately said, it is impossible to sell the cage for 10 Federation dollars. It might be old, but I spent 50 Federation dollars to order it from the blacksmith back then. Fey Evolution Merchant Chapter 15, The Side Effects of Calm Mind. This man's brain had such a huge hole that rendered Lin Yuan speechless. How big must the hole be in the brain for a person to think that someone else would want to buy the old cage? The hole must be huge enough to reach straight to the neck. Uncle, I mean that I want to purchase one coiled horn goat for 100,000. Lin Yuan didn't show it on his face, but he had a small comment box that was violently cursing at this man with the weak stomach. Lin Yuan gave a very reasonable price. A regular coiled horn goat could be purchased for the price of around 60,000 Federation dollars. As for that coiled horn goat with the rare ability, its price would be around 95,000 Federation dollars. Lin Yuan was impatient, so he added another 5,000 Federation dollars to express his sincerity. When the man heard 100,000 Federation dollars, his eyes immediately lit up. He quickly picked up his phone to call his wife. After a short conversation, the man hung up the phone and also extended up a fist toward Lin Yuan before gesturing with a peace sign, 120,000 Federation dollars. Lin Yuan shook his head and turned away. Elite Fays were commonly traded in the market, so they had their own fixed value. Although Lin Yuan had already expressed his sincerity in purchasing the coiled horn goat with the jolt horn ability, it didn't mean that he could accept such an astronomical price. Since this Fey marketplace has other Fays similar to the coiled horn goats, I shall just walk around first. Upon seeing Lin Yuan turn around, the middle-aged man got anxious and said, why don't you give me 105,000 Federation dollars? I will sell you this goat and also give you this cage. The comment box in Lin Yuan's mind was barraged with more curses. If the back of Lin Yuan's head had eyes, he would certainly roll them at the man. Who the hell would want your old cage that hasn't been cleaned in months? If it was during normal days, Lin Yuan would definitely walk away without saying anything. However, this involved finding a defense-type Fey for his younger sister. Lin Yuan didn't act rashly and turned around to say to that man, I will look around first. If there isn't anything else suitable, I will purchase that coiled horn goat that is at the innermost of the cage. The middle-aged man wasn't happy when Lin Yuan didn't immediately purchase it. If you come back to buy later, I will not be giving you the cage, he mumbled. The comment box in Lin Yuan's mind was now filled with curses as he turned and left. Not far away, Lin Yuan noticed a very big stall ahead that was surrounded by plenty of people. These people were all standing beside the stall while holding baskets or bags in a queue. Lin Yuan could see that these people weren't here to purchase Fays. After taking 2 more steps forward, Lin Yuan could smell the faint stench of blood in the air. He lifted the wing of his nose and discovered that the stench of blood was coming from the stall ahead. At that moment, Lin Yuan could see a stalwart man carrying a massive woven bag and walking forward strenuously. The bag was filled with spirit beast meat. The Fey marketplace wouldn't normally slaughter Fays to sell. Even when the Federation citizens wanted to eat some Fey meat, it would be from Fays that were specially bred in slaughterhouses. After seeing this scene, Lin Yuan could guess that this stall was set up by the breeding base that had been devastated by the dimensional rift. Just as Lin Yuan was about to head over to see if he could pick up any hidden wares, a boorish voice echoed from the stall. I thank everyone for providing your support during the past few days. All of the spirit beast meat has been sold. Allow me to apologize to those who didn't get to purchase any. The boorish man's voice sounded exhausted and slightly sorrowful. Naturally, the crowd that had been queuing for a long time to purchase the spirit beast meat was unwilling to leave like this. They started shouting at the boorish man. FreeWebNovel.com boss, I can still see a few severely injured spirit beasts inside. Why don't we just slaughter them? That's right, boss. Injured spirit beasts must be slaughtered. I didn't even spare the bamboo rats that we bred in my home when they got a heat stroke. I will bring one to the riverside to barbecue. They are truly mouth-watering. Lin Yuan couldn't help but approve of this person. That is a rather great speech. I will give you a double like. But you don't have your distinctive style and should practice more. The boorish man quickly shook his hand. Those inside cannot be slaughtered. I apologize to everyone that waited in vain. If you are interested, you can go in and take a look to see if you fancy any of the spirit beasts. There are only 3 remaining spirit beasts inside. If you buy them, you will surely profit. Seeing that there was no more meat to buy, the crowd scattered. Purchasing a severely injured fae might be getting value for money, but who was able to afford to hire a creation master to heal the fae? When the boorish man saw that most of the people had left, he crouched down to carefully wipe off the stains of blood left behind by the spirit beast meat that he had sold earlier. The boorish man habitually stated when he saw Lin Yuan walking up. All the meat has been sold. This stall will not sell any more spirit beast meat. Lin Yuan could see that the boorish man was exhausted. Apart from the unwavering determination in his eyes that was supporting his body, there was intense sadness. When the alien insects had invaded from the dimensional rift, it was said that only 2 individuals had managed to escape from the breeding base. Furthermore, 1 of 2 had died because of shock and wound infection, as no timely treatment had been provided. The boorish man was the only survivor from the fae breeding base. Boss, I am not here to purchase any meat. I wish to see what other faes you have to sell. When the boorish man heard the business knocking, he quickly stopped what he was doing and stood up. When he suddenly looked into Lin Yuan's eyes, the boorish man's heavy mood seemed to have significantly calmed down. This boorish man felt that this good-looking youth had a very amiable personality, making others feel unconsciously intimate. Even all the sad and exhausting emotions were suppressed because of this youth. The boorish man stared at Lin Yuan, feeling that it was increasingly pleasant to look at him. These changes might be slightly related to Lin Yuan's looks and personality, but Morbius' awakening was the true reason. Morbius' passive ability, Calm Mind, had been activated. Calm Mind should only be effective toward Lin Yuan, but 2 nights ago, he had experimented with this ability. After that, he had realized that Calm Mind's effects would affect others within a certain distance from him. Nonetheless, it wouldn't be as intense. However, Lin Yuan didn't know that the Calm Mind ability wouldn't just calm others' minds, but it would also subtly allow others to have a favorable opinion of him. It was fortunate that Lin Yuan didn't know, or else he wouldn't be using it recklessly. Young brother, I am only a few years older than you. You can just call me Big Brother Yang. There are 3 severely injured faes inside. If you wish to see them, I will bring you in. When the boss called Lin Yuan young brother, he was astonished. Why did he suddenly call me young brother? After seeing the little white hair on the back of the boorish man's head, Lin Yuan started to suspect if he looked anxious. Fae Evolution Merchant Chapter 16, Web-Spraying Spider. Lin Yuan had been operating a fae store since he was 8 years old, so he was rather proficient in conversations. Seeing that the boorish man was so friendly to him, Lin Yuan got friendly too. Big Brother Yang, then, can I trouble you to bring me inside for a look? The boorish man used his hand to pat on Lin Yuan's shoulder and laughed heartily. You don't need to be so polite with your big brother. In just a few seconds, we are already addressing each other as brothers. This script doesn't feel right, Lin Yuan mumbled in his heart. In fact, the Calm Mind ability would help Lin Yuan to receive favorable impressions. To be honest, a favorable impression was a sensory impression. The boorish man had such an attitude toward Lin Yuan because he was a forthright person. Also, when he was at his lowest emotional state, Lin Yuan's appearance had actually dismissed the sadness. It naturally made the boorish man feel that it was due to Lin Yuan. While the boorish man was leading at the front, Lin Yuan followed behind and looked around. The exterior of the stall had already been cleaned up. Apart from the 3 faes left inside the shed, there was basically nothing else. Had Lin Yuan not arrived today, coincidentally, this stall might not be here tomorrow. After entering the shed, Yang Mingkai pointed at the 2 transparent boxes and said, inside those boxes are 2 web-spraying spiders. They might look healthy now, but their abdomens have been torn open. From the looks of it, they will only last for another 2 days. Yang Mingkai wasn't a dishonest merchant, but he probably wouldn't get into detail about the web-spraying spider's injuries if it were someone else. This was all due to the favorable impression that Yang Mingkai had on Lin Yuan. Lin Yuan was using true data to check on the 2 web-spraying spiders' information. Fae name, web-spraying spider. Fae species, arachnid species / web-weaving spider subspecies. Fae grade, elite, 10 out of 10. Fae type, poison. Fae quality, flawless. Abilities. Thread conceal, during the moving process. The movement trajectory will be sprayed out with sharp spider threads that are hard to detect. Poison web, spray out a web of threads in front that is poisonous. These two web-spraying spiders were averaging at Elite X/Flawless. An Elite X/Flawless Fae was only one step away from reaching bronze grade. Had it not been for the dimensional rift, these two Elite X/Flawless web-spraying spiders would have successfully reached bronze grade and awakened their exclusive skills. This was something great that wouldn't be seen during normal days in the Fae marketplace. Faes that were one breath away from bronze grade would normally be sold on the star web. When Yang Mingkai saw how serious Lin Yuan was when looking at the web-spraying spiders, his face turned sad again as he thought of something. During the alien insects invasion, the web-spraying spiders were able to survive because they are insect faes and small enough to hide inside a bigger fae's body. However, before they hid inside the body of the bigger fae, their abdomens were still stabbed by the alien insects. Yang Mingkai's face revealed his sadness again, but Lin Yuan didn't use Morbius' calm mind this time. Some experiences could never be forgotten. It was like an obstacle on the road, and if one couldn't surpass it, they would be trapped forever and die in this state. After getting over this obstacle, it would make the person tougher, and their hearts would be stronger. This was Yang Mingkai's obstacle, and no one would help, as he had to get over it by himself. Big brother Yang, sometimes, it is useless to continue feeling sad. Why don't you put it in the past and look forward to the future? Before Yang Mingkai could reply, Lin Yuan said again, if these two web-spraying spiders weren't injured, it wouldn't be a problem for them to be sold for 300,000 Federation dollars on the star web. The prices for support-type phase of the spider species were always very high. The web-spraying spider's abilities had great control power and were slightly poisonous. It was considered a support-type fae with strong lethal power. It was able to achieve a supportive effect that was brutal and direct when controlling the enemy. The size of the web-spraying spider was small, only around 10 centimeters. It was very nimble and great at concealment, making it an outstanding fae for wilderness battles. Yang Mingkai felt that Lin Yuan's words had penetrated right into his heart. He was alone now, and after experiencing the disaster, it felt as though no one else had talked to him like this apart from the rescuers. While living in the harsh cold environment, a little warmth could warm the body, and a little light from a matchstick was enough to illuminate the dark house. 300,000 Federation dollars is still too little. The prices on the star web when selling faes are normally higher, and it is due to the restrictions of talent. To people who need them, they wouldn't mind spending more money. However, these two web-spraying spiders are already injured. It would already be good enough to sell both of them for 150,000 Federation dollars together. Lin Yuan nodded. Given how Yang Mingkai set the prices, he knew that he was an honest person. Apart from being able to form a contract with the web-spraying spiders, they were also a medicinal ingredient. The carcass of a web-spraying spider was worth about 50,000 Federation dollars. Therefore, when setting the price of these severely injured web-spraying spiders at 75,000 Federation dollars each, it was already very reasonable. Big brother Yang, I wish to buy these web-spraying spiders, but I do not have enough money on me. I wonder if I can trade for them with faes? Lin Yuan had come to the marketplace today with the plan to use the elite usnias in exchange for money. The elite usnias were productive spirits plants that were always in demand. Thus, Lin Yuan was very certain. Yang Mingkai frowned after hearing Lin Yuan's words. If it were someone else saying this, Yang Mingkai would have already chased them out. It was common to use faes in exchange for money. However, there was a condition that the other party required the faes, or if it was a top-selling fae that was hard to find in the market. Young brother, I don't wish to conceal anything from you. After I finish handling this batch of faes, I plan to open up another fae breeding base and restart everything. That's why, if you use faes to trade with me, I might not need them. Yang Mingkai might have a good impression of Lin Yuan, but business was still business. When Lin Yuan heard that Yang Mingkai would be opening a breeding base, he immediately smiled. Big brother Yang, I have some elite usnias. Do you think I can use them for trading? As soon as Lin Yuan spoke, Yang Mingkai asked with a pleasantly surprised tone, "Young brother, do you want to trade with elite Usnias? I wonder what the quality of your elite Usnias is." Yang Mingkai was planning to build a Fey breeding base and start small. It was the same as destroying everything and restarting. Everything would be difficult at the start, and Yang Mingkai had been fretting about the initial phase that were required for the setup. Elite Usnias had to be nurtured through special methods, and they were able to produce plenty of regular Usnias. An elite Usnia was already qualified to produce new seeds. However, it was almost impossible for anyone to sell elite Usnias. Yang Mingkai had been collecting information to purchase elite Usnias during the past few days, but he couldn't find anything. A few parties were willing to sell, but their asking prices were at least twice as much as the market rate. If Yang Mingkai were to buy them, it would lead to a huge deficit at the beginning. Now that Lin Yuan wanted to trade elite Usnias, Yang Mingkai was immediately excited. Quality-wise, they are all rather good. If Big Brother Yang agrees to trade for elite Usnias, you can come over to my place and take a look at the goods first. When Lin Yuan saw Yang Mingkai's excited reaction, he knew it was going to work. Just as Lin Yuan and Yang Mingkai were speaking, Lin Yuan suddenly heard a rather weak moo. Fey Evolution Merchant Chapter 17, Sharp Rock Bull. A weak sound echoed from the originally quiet shed, and it immediately attracted Lin Yuan's attention. Lin Yuan turned around and couldn't help but use his hand to slap his thigh agitatedly. When using true data, the information of the Fey had immediately appeared. Fey name, Sharp Rock Bull. Fey species, Horn species/Bull species. Fey grade, Elite, 10 out of 10. Fey type, Earth. Fey quality, Epic. Abilities. Rock Horn, after applying a rock layer on the horns, disregard injuries and smash into the enemy with full strength. Sacrifice, when the contractor is injured, automatically split the damage with the contractor. Lin Yuan was excited because this elite X-Phase quality was epic. It also meant that if this Sharp Rock Bull was healed, it would be able to reach bronze grade with epic quality, allowing the contractor to choose one exclusive skill among 3 skills. Most importantly, this Sharp Rock Bull was a defense-type Fey, and Chu Ci could use it. Yang Mingkai had also heard the mooing sound, so he walked over and grabbed some stover for the Sharp Rock Bull. He then said to Lin Yuan with an unbearable tone, "This Sharp Rock Bull has been the precious baby of our breeding base." No one expected for the Sharp Rock Bull's horn to break during the disaster. The value of this Sharp Rock Bull isn't because of its epic quality, but its elite-grade skill. This Sharp Rock Bull comprehended a rare ability that is exclusive to the Sharp Rock Bulls, Sacrifice. Our breeding base has nurtured over 1,500 Sharp Rock Bulls during the past years, but only this Sharp Rock Bull comprehended Sacrifice. Lin Yuan had also noticed the ability, Sacrifice, which could have the damage for the contractor. He really liked the ability. If his younger sister contracted a Fey that possessed Sacrifice, it would definitely be able to protect her better, making it the best meat shield. However, Lin Yuan had a feeling that this Sharp Rock Bull didn't look too smart. Rock Horn was considered a suicidal charging attack that disregarded injuries. Sacrifice was an ability that helped to endure damage. This Sharp Rock Bull was simply a brave bull that was not afraid of bleeding and death. It was a top-class iron fool, not just a normal fool. I wonder how much you are willing to sell this Sharp Rock Bull for. If this Sharp Rock Bull was healthy, even Lin Yuan's current pots of elite Usnias wouldn't be able to purchase 1/3 of the Sharp Rock Bull. After all, this Sharp Rock Bull was a masterpiece. Yang Mingkai looked at the Sharp Rock Bull's broken horn and thought for a long time before speaking. When this Sharp Rock Bull was healthy, I was preparing to sell it for 1.5 radiance dollars. But if young brother wants it, I can sell it to you for 200,000 Federation dollars. Young brother, I have to say something first. It isn't just this Sharp Rock Bull, the 2 web-spraying spiders are also in the same condition. I have looked for a healer to check on them and discovered that the 3 Feys have injured their roots. Regular healers won't be able to do anything. Only creation masters are able to heal them. freewebnovel.co. Lin Yuan wasn't concerned about this point. Before this, Lin Yuan had experimented with his spirit chi's ability to evolve phase, using a pot of jasmine lily as a test subject. Lin Yuan had cut off half of the jasmine lily's stalk. If it were left alone, the jasmine lily would definitely wither unless a creation master helped to nurture it with full attention. However, after Lin Yuan had channeled his spirit chi into the jasmine lily, its injury had recovered automatically. Therefore, Lin Yuan was certain that his method to evolve phase with spirit chi was able to heal phase that had injured their roots. There was a point that Lin Yuan didn't guess wrongly, and it was the price of the sharp rock bull, which was astronomical. The Federation dollar was the Radiance Federation's lowest class of currency, and it was mainly produced for most of the ordinary people who couldn't sense spirit chi. The Radiance dollar was the Radiance Federation's high-class currency, as high-grade phase were invaluable. The prices during transactions would easily reach tens of millions in Federation dollars, so the Radiance Federation had created the Radiance dollar. A single Radiance dollar would be equivalent to 1 million Federation dollars, and it was mainly used between spirit chi professionals. If this sharp rock bull was healthy, it would be sold for 1.5 Radiance dollars, which was 1,500,000 Federation dollars. It was a price that Lin Yuan couldn't afford right now. However, the severely injured sharp rock bull cost 200,000 Federation dollars, and Lin Yuan was able to afford it. Big brother Yang, I know, but I still wish to trade. Why don't you come to my place and take a look at the quality of my elite usnias before we talk about the trade? Lin Yuan had already made the decision to buy both the web-spraying spiders and the sharp rock bull, so he couldn't wait to complete the trade. Lin Yuan would still need to heal the sharp rock bull's injuries after the trade. If he were too late, he wouldn't have enough time to catch the last train that headed for Chu Si's school today. Lin Yuan had already spent 3 hours away from his home. He might be able to sense spirit chi, but his body had yet to completely recover. He felt that his head was getting increasingly dizzy as he had not slept for an entire night and had been searching for phase on the marketplace for over 2 hours. When Yang Mingkai heard Lin Yuan extending the invitation to visit his house for the second time to check on the elite usnia's quality, Yang Mingkai immediately agreed. Lin Yuan might have promised that the elite usnias were well developed, but Yang Mingkai had to check on the quality before he could relax. Yang Mingkai wanted to use the elite usnias and clone them to produce usnia saplings. Therefore, the quality of the elite usnias must be great and of a strict standard. Yang Mingkai already planned ahead in his mind. After he saw Lin Yuan's elite usnias and realized they were not up to his standard, he would negotiate for the price based on the Star Web's price. If these elite usnias didn't reach the standard to conduct cloning, Yang Mingkai could only resell them, and it would be a waste of time and effort. However, due to his good impression of Lin Yuan, Yang Mingkai had already decided to carry out this deal. Young brother, wait for a moment. I will pack up this stall and leave with you. Since you are taking all 3 of those severely injured phase, there is no need for this stall to continue existing. Lin Yuan felt great after hearing Yang Mingkai's words, as it was a feeling of being trusted. Yang Mingkai had yet to see his elite usnias, and the 2 web-spraying spiders and the sharp rock bull would only last for a few more days too. Packing up the stall is definitely a sign that Yang Mingkai trusts me. Even though Yang Mingkai hasn't seen the elite usnia's quality, he has already decided to make a deal with me. Otherwise, he wouldn't pack up the stall, as the 3 severely injured phase wouldn't be able to endure harsh conditions outside of the shed. Big brother Yang, let me help you. Lin Yuan then picked up the housekeeping tools at the stall and started to clean up the stall's miscellaneous items. Yang Mingkai didn't stop Lin Yuan and was speaking as he tore down the shed. I just happen to have some Ostrich Logistics custom boxes to store phase. Later on, we can use them to store the sharp rock bull and the web-spraying spiders. It will save us a lot of trouble. Fey Evolution Merchant Chapter 18, Bronze-Crowned Fire Salamander. Ostrich Logistics was a massive organization in the Radiance Federation, and it covered nearly half of the Federation's logistics needs. Ostrich Logistics' main business was to transport all sorts of fays, and the spirit storage box was their patented invention. It was a device for convenient transportation of fays, created with advanced technology. When the fay was contained in the spirit storage box, its size wouldn't shrink. However, the spirit storage box's gravity technology could negate the fay's weight, allowing heavy fays to be transported easily. The spirit storage box had grades that were sorted according to the fay's grades. Regular-sized spirit storage boxes could be bought from Ostrich Logistics stores. If anyone needed to transport massive fays, they would need to put a custom order on Ostrich Logistics' Star web store. Although the spirit storage box was commonly used, it was still expensive. A spirit storage box used to store elite fays would cost 1,000 Federation dollars, and this price was already equivalent to some of the cheaper elite fays. If the spirit storage box was used to transport ordinary elite fays, it would waste its value. Therefore, elite fays that were transported with spirit storage boxes were generally the expensive kind. Lin Yuan didn't expect Yang Mingkai to have prepared spirit storage boxes for the severely injured fays. Big brother Yang, then it will be much more convenient for us to transport the fays. We won't need to look for specialized transporters to help. It will save us plenty of time. Elite fays, such as the sharp rock bull and the web-spraying spiders, had a certain lethality level, especially when they were injured. Yang Mingkai's spirit storage boxes really saved them a lot of trouble. These spirit storage boxes were left behind in the previous breeding base. Many of them were already broken and faulty. After disposing of the rest of the boxes yesterday, I kept 2 elite-grade spirit storage boxes to contain the web-spraying spiders and 1 bronze-grade spirit storage box to contain the sharp rock bull. Sigh. This sharp rock bull will probably never reach bronze grade. It's a waste of its epic quality and the sacrifice ability. Yang Mingkai was very efficient and quickly torn down the shed. Lin Yuan originally wanted to order a thick-hoofed donkey car, but Yang Mingkai patted on Lin Yuan's shoulder before he activated his spiritual energy. A 3-meter-long lizard with black and red scales appeared behind Yang Mingkai. When the lizard was released, it immediately hissed and roared. Lin Yuan felt as though the surrounding air had turned scorching hot. The lizard had a wrinkled crown, and the scales on the crown looked extremely bright red. It made Lin Yuan feel as though the heat was actually emitted from the bright red crown. Beneath the crown were more mixtures of black color, and when reaching its limbs and abdomen, it was nearly black in color. Lin Yuan used true data to check on the massive black and red lizard. Fey name, crowned fire salamander. Fey species, crowned lizard species/scaled lizard species. Fey grade, bronze, 7 out of 10. Fey type, poison/fire. Fey quality, normal. Abilities. Broken teeth, when biting and ripping, it will intentionally break its teeth and embed them in the target. Rolling rip, when biting onto the target, it will use the mouth as the core area and revolve the body to rip off the target's bones and flesh. Exclusive skill. Fiery poison, grow the poison gland and connect it with the salivary gland, allowing the saliva to contain fiery poison. An elite phase quality didn't play a major role before reaching bronze grade. Once it reached bronze, its quality would revert to normal again. Afterward, it wouldn't matter what the grade of the Fey was. It could only evolve into a fantasy breed when the quality broke through epic and reached legend. A bronze Fey would awaken an exclusive skill, but it wouldn't have an additional ability. Due to the awakened exclusive skill, all of the abilities would be subtly enhanced. It was a qualitative change. This black and red lizard was a high-level bronze-crowned fire salamander. It might be called a salamander, but this crowned fire salamander didn't know how to use the fire-type element energy. It was due to the evolution direction during bronze grade that enhanced the physical body, hence, it was returning to the ancestry line. freewebnovel.com. The crowned fire salamander's bright red crown had a lump that contained an abnormally well-developed poison gland. The poison gland wasn't connected to the crowned fire salamander's teeth, but the salivary gland. When the crowned fire salamander used its teeth to bite and rip the enemy, the poison fluid from the crown would be injected into the enemy's body along with the biting action. In a very short period, the bitten location would develop a charred wound as though it was burned. This was how the crowned fire salamander had gotten its name. Lin Yuan had encountered bronze fays previously. Registered spirit chi professionals of the Radiance Federation were able to ride their fays to travel in the city, and Lin Yuan would occasionally see them when importing goods. However, this was the first time he was observing a 3-meter-long bronze-crowned fire salamander at such a close distance. Lin Yuan felt an indescribable impact in his heart. Everyone said that the gap between elite and bronze was a huge chasm, and to get across it was to rise to a higher level. From the looks of it now, it was indeed true. The prowess of a bronze fae was utterly superior to an elite fae. Young brother, my crowned fire salamander is nurtured to a rather good condition, right? When Yang Mingkai was speaking, he didn't forget to pat on the crowned fire salamander's neck, as he was obviously satisfied with his fae partner. The crowned fire salamander was aggressive in nature and sinister in appearance, especially the layers of wrinkles on the bright red crown, making it abnormally strange. However, after seeing its owner interacting with it, the crowned fire salamander looked pleased and used its head to rub against Yang Mingkai's shoulder. No matter the situation, the relationship of a spirit chi professional and the contracted fae was that of best friends. Lin Yuan would be very envious if he saw this scene in the past, but he wasn't envious now. He subtly touched the copper bracelet on his right wrist and felt warmth in his heart. Lin Yuan also had his own contracted fae now. Morbius, Genius, and Chimey were Lin Yuan's contracted fays. He was no longer an ordinary person who couldn't contract fays and sense spirit chi. Big Brother Yang, your crowned fire salamander's awakened exclusive skill, fiery poison, is rather good. It effectively enhances the crowned fire salamander's attack method. Lin Yuan praised. Lin Yuan's statement surprised Yang Mingkai. Young brother, how did you know that my crowned fire salamander awakened the fiery poison skill? Yang Mingkai didn't recall mentioning his spirit beast skill to Lin Yuan. Lin Yuan pointed at the crowned fire salamander's bright red crown and said, an average crowned fire salamander's crown wouldn't be so bright and massive. Only crowned fire salamanders that awakened the fierce fire or fiery poison skills would have such a crown. In addition, when Big Brother Yang interacts with your crowned fire salamander, you avoid its mouth. That is how I deduced that its awakened skill is fiery poison. After Lin Yuan's explanation, Yang Mingkai immediately understood and exclaimed, I didn't expect young brother to possess such professional knowledge at such a young age that only fae observers have. Yang Mingkai was thinking in his heart that Lin Yuan was truly incredible. Fae Evolution Merchant Chapter 19, Creation Master Behind the Scenes. Fae Observer was a lifestyle occupation, and they were capable of observing, differentiating, and analyzing faes. As such, they could deduce lots of information concerning faes. Lifestyle occupations, like the knowledgeable fae observers, were always respected. Lin Yuan, who could immediately identify a bronze fae's exclusive skill, left a deep impression in Yang Mingkai. In his eyes, this feat made Lin Yuan an incredible figure. Lin Yuan shook his hand and said, Big Brother Yang, we better go now. Otherwise, the crowned fire salamander that you summoned will continue to affect the surrounding low-grade faes. Yang Mingkai looked around along with Lin Yuan and realized that the stall owner beside him was already looking at him with unpleasant eyes. Yang Mingkai let out an embarrassed smile and quickly asked Lin Yuan to ride on the back of the crowned fire salamander. As for the 3 spirit storage boxes that contained the web-spraying spiders and the sharp rock bull, the crowned fire salamander's tail pulled them in tow. After Lin Yuan pointed out the direction, Yang Mingkai urged the crowned fire salamander, which responded by galloping rapidly. When Lin Yuan had been riding the thick-hoofed donkey earlier, he could only feel a refreshing breeze. Unsurprisingly, the running crowned fire salamander was ultra-fast, far beyond what the thick-hoofed donkey could do. The billowing and howling gales blew against Lin Yuan's body and gave him a pressuring feeling. After all, Lin Yuan wasn't a D-rank spirit chi professional yet. Had it not been for Yang Mingkai intentionally blocking the gales for Lin Yuan, the latter would have fallen off the back of the crowned fire salamander. The journey's strong gales didn't just disperse Lin Yuan's mental exhaustion, but they also stirred up Lin Yuan's heart. Galloping in the wind and riding on fays was a life that a man should live. After reaching the alley where Lin Yuan resided, Yang Mingkai withdrew the crowned fire salamander. It wasn't that the alley didn't allow riding fays. It was too narrow. It was impossible for the crowned fire salamander, whose legs pushed outward, to move in it. Lin Yuan jumped off the crowned fire salamander's back, and the wind disheveled his hair. This added to Lin Yuan's handsome looks a wild nature too. Yang Mingkai said, "The crowned fire salamander generates rather intense air currents when it's running. Are you okay?" Lin Yuan shook his head and replied, "I have to thank Big Brother Yang. This is my first time riding on the back of a bronze fei. It was truly satisfying." Yang Mingkai laughed heartily and said, "Riding on the crowned fire salamander isn't considered satisfying. When you take a ride on a flying fei and smell the thin air in the high altitudes, while looking down at the ground, that is satisfying." Lin Yuan led the way, and they arrived at the store entrance swiftly. When he opened the door, Lin Yuan didn't hear Chimey or Genius calling out. He could guess that those two fellows were still sleeping. Fortunately, Lin Yuan had not forgotten to close the second floor's door before leaving, or else he might have woken up Genius and Chimey when opening the store's door. Yang Mingkai entered the store, and Lin Yuan poured 2 cups of water. "Big Brother Yang, I don't have any beverages here. I can only offer you water, and this is for you." After giving the cup of water to Yang Mingkai, Lin Yuan gulped down his cup's content. Although Yang Mingkai received the water cup, he didn't take a sip. It wasn't that Yang Mingkai wasn't thirsty. He was simply flabbergasted by the rows of elite usneas on the racks of this small store. The rows of usneas were all pleasantly long, had firm vines, and the leaves were all very crowded together. Water beads also suspended on the large leaves. Just the elite usnea's appearance betrayed their normal and elite quality. It had to be known that usneas were elite in terms of grade and quality, met the criteria for cloning. This was already beyond Yang Mingkai's expectations. The 20-plus pots of elite/elite usneas was a shocking spectacle, and one would hardly trade them. Compared to these elite usneas, the 3 pots of elite jasmine lilies looked average. When Lin Yuan saw how Yang Mingkai was staring at the usneas, as though he wanted to approach and scrutinize them, Lin Yuan immediately offered. "Big Brother Yang, why don't you get closer to check them carefully?" Before these pots of usneas evolved, they had great foundations. I always bury energy ores in the soil, so their roots are very well developed. freewebnovel.com. Yang Mingkai went closer to the rack along with Lin Yuan and touched the usnea's leaves. He realized that the leaves had a thick and fleshy texture, indicating that the ample water content in them. Yang Mingkai plucked off one of the leaves, and when he broke the leaf stem, plenty of sap flowed out. At the same time, he observed the roots, which from just their appearance alone looked strong. Soon, he recalled what Lin Yuan had said earlier and was convinced. These elite usneas were superior among the elite usneas. After checking the 20-plus pots of elite usneas, their grade no longer surprised Yang Mingkai. He was now wondering about their astonishing origins instead. These elite usneas are well nurtured, and their conditions are unbelievable. It looks as though a creation master tended to them recently. Naturally, Yang Mingkai didn't think that Lin Yuan was a creation master, as creation masters were the Radiance Federation's most respectable occupation. Even the lowest-ranked creation master could open a spacious store in Redbud City's core area. Countless combat-class spirit chi professionals would think of methods to build a good relationship with creation masters. If Lin Yuan was really a creation master, he wouldn't be cowering in this little store. Therefore, it meant that a creation master was backing this store. Yang Mingkai had been working hard to operate the Fey breeding base for many years, but hadn't been able to form a relationship with any creation master. Otherwise, the epic quality Sharp Rock Bull would have long reached bronze grade. It wasn't like he hadn't thought of methods to seek a creation master's help. Unfortunately, he didn't have the bargaining chips to invite a creation master. Even if one had Federation and Radiance dollars, it was still insufficient to invite a creation master to enter their door. In order to invite a creation master, one would need to possess the creation master's most preferred spiritual ingredient and use it as a bargaining chip to set the appointment. Spiritual ingredients were hard to find, and Yang Mingkai was unable to obtain any. When Yang Mingkai thought that Lin Yuan had the backing of a creation master, he involuntarily wanted to try building a relationship with the creation master through Lin Yuan. However, Yang Mingkai didn't know how to make such a suggestion. When Lin Yuan noticed that Yang Mingkai was observing the Esnias for a long time without speaking, he asked, "Big brother Yang, are you satisfied with these Esnias?" Yang Mingkai immediately returned to his senses and responded after hearing Lin Yuan's voice, "Satisfied, very satisfied. These elite Esnias are far beyond my expectations. I wonder if Brother Lin has more of these elite Esnias?" Fey Evolution Merchant Chapter 20, A Huge Business. Yang Mingkai had suddenly become reserved and even changed the way he addressed Lin Yuan, so the latter involuntarily said, "Big brother Yang, you are my senior, just call me young brother." While listening to Lin Yuan, Yang Mingkai observed his frank expression. Yang Mingkai was a forthright and straightforward person, so he patted on Lin Yuan's shoulder and said, "Haha, I also feel comfortable calling you young brother." Lin Yuan chuckled. "Big brother Yang, you said you wanted more elite Esnias. I do have them, but I wonder how many more pots you need." Lin Yuan had already planned to stay at home to increase his spirit Qi occupation rank to D rank after delivering the Fey to Chu Ci. Therefore, he was definitely going to evolve plenty of Feys. It was about time to produce more elite Esnias. Yang Mingkai carefully extended one finger. Over 70 pots, adding to a total of 100 pots. Does young brother think it is possible? Before Lin Yuan could talk, Yang Mingkai quickly supplemented another statement. "Young brother, your elite Esnias are of elite quality. If you sell them on the Star Web, you can get around 30,000 Federation dollars per pot. I cannot allow young brother to suffer a loss, so I'll add 3,000 Federation dollars for each pot. Do you think 33,000 Federation dollars for each pot is acceptable?" Yang Mingkai immediately offered the highest price in his mind. In fact, the price was a little lower than the high transaction prices on the Star Web. However, Yang Mingkai offered a reasonable price, which was the average price for elite/elite Esnias. Yang Mingkai was going to open another Fey breeding base, and that would require considerable expenditure. 000 Federation dollars for each of the 100 pots was already the highest price that Yang Mingkai could offer. Lin Yuan pondered for a moment and felt that the offer was reasonable. If he had to sell them on the Star Web, he would need to waste a lot of effort. Also, instead of wasting his time, he would be able to evolve more pots of Esnias. "Big brother Yang, your price is acceptable. However, if you need 100 pots of Esnias, you might have to give me 7 days before you can collect them." Lin Yuan would need 2 days to visit Chu Si school and return. He required slightly more than an hour to evolve each pot of Esnia. After deducting the 20+ pots of Esnias that were already available, Lin Yuan would need around 70+ hours to evolve the rest. Thus, Lin Yuan could only have them around 7 days at the earliest. 7 days? Yang Mingkai was even more confident that a creation master was backing Lin Yuan. In addition, Lin Yuan seemed to have an extremely close relationship with the creation master. Otherwise, it was impossible to deliver such a huge order. 7 days was simply too fast. Under normal circumstances, other suppliers would find it impossible to deliver even if they were given 2 months. It was definitely a divine method. Lin Yuan nodded as 7 days was already his limit. Lin Yuan thought that Yang Mingkai felt it was rather slow, but Yang Mingkai actually felt it was too fast. freewebnovel.com. At that moment, the second floor's door was gently opened before it was carefully closed again. A small figure rushed down the stairs quickly and pounced into Lin Yuan's embrace. After a meow, It held Lin Yuan's hand and said, "Yuan, Chimey is still sleeping. Chimey is a lazy bum. Genius is already awake, genius is diligent." Lin Yuan reached out to gently scratch Genius' nose. Genius let out a sneeze with a meow before sitting obediently in Lin Yuan's embrace while feeling content. When Genius had come to this home, it had been rather afraid of strangers. But now, Genius was already used to it. Housekeeping beasts were fays that each Federation citizen possessed, and Yang Mingkai wasn't an exception either. However, Yang Mingkai's housekeeping beast had perished during the alien insects invasion. "Young brother, your housekeeping beast is brilliant. This is the first time I see such a beautiful housekeeping beast." When Genius heard Yang Mingkai's comment, it took a glance at Yang Mingkai before burying its head into Lin Yuan's chest fondly. "I feel that Genius is also the most incredible and cutest 100 questions beast." While speaking, Lin Yuan rubbed Genius' silverish gray fur, which was a form of approval and acknowledgement. When Genius had been brought there, it had just been a small abandoned fellow with a messy fur that no one wanted. Despite that, Genius broke the norm for 100 questions beasts and became the first normal 100 questions beasts in history. Moreover, this was just the starting point and not the ending point. As Genius' contractor and partner, whenever someone praised Genius, Lin Yuan felt proud of Genius. Subsequently, Lin Yuan and Yang Mingkai conducted the trade, a total of 23 pots of elite/elite usnias for 759,000 Federation dollars. After deducting the 350,000 Federation dollars for the elite web-spraying spiders and sharp rock bull, Yang Mingkai used the Star Web account to transfer 409,000 Federation dollars to Lin Yuan. Yang Mingkai originally wanted to transfer the deposit for the remaining 77 pots of usnias to Lin Yuan, which was 10% of the cost, but Lin Yuan rejected the idea. Lin Yuan stated that the money for the remaining usnias would be settled together when Yang Mingkai returned to collect the goods. After adding the 20,000 Federation dollars that Lin Yuan already had in his Star Web account, he now had 429,000 Federation dollars. This was an amount of wealth that Lin Yuan wouldn't dare to imagine that he would possess. Lin Yuan helped Yang Mingkai shift the usnias from the rack onto the back of the crowned fire salamander, waiting in the alley. After sending off Yang Mingkai, Lin Yuan immediately returned to the store. Lin Yuan had a very tight schedule, and he had to heal this elite/epic sharp rock bull. After healing the sharp rock bull, he would need to rush to Chu Si school. Lin Yuan had money now and would only be earning more money in the future. Money would no longer be a problem for their family. Hence, Lin Yuan was planning to rent a bronze avian fei. This way, he would be able to cut down the 7-hour journey into a 1-hour trip. Lin Yuan approached Ostrich Logistics' spirit storage box and released the severely injured sharp rock bull that was lying in it. When the sharp rock bull was released, it immediately occupied most of Lin Yuan's store space. This sharp rock bull was only a calf, and its size wasn't even 2 meters, which meant that it was about 2 years old. An adult sharp rock bull's size would be at least 5 meters in length. However, this sharp rock bull had 2 shattered horns, and its body had tiny wounds that would shock anyone. Lin Yuan was looking at the sharp rock bull while it was also looking at him. The sharp rock bull was apparently a little nervous and was waving its head while feeling uneasy. Lin Yuan carefully placed his hand on the sharp rock bull's broken horn and slowly transferred his spirit chi to the sharp rock bull. When the sharp rock bull felt the spirit chi, it slowly let down its guard. An elite fei was rather spiritual and could feel Lin Yuan's friendly intent, so it lay there obediently. While Lin Yuan was rapidly absorbing spirit chi, he was also rapidly injecting it into the sharp rock bull. 10 minutes later, the tiny wounds on the sharp rock bull had gradually recovered due to Lin Yuan's channeled spirit chi. After an hour or so, the sharp rock bull continued to lay there in a weak state. All of a sudden, it let out an extremely painful mooing sound.